الكريم أما بعد. As the blessed month of Ramadan is concluding, there are a few things that we definitely should be considering and thinking about in a very serious way. The first thing is that at the beginning of the month, or before the month was starting, people were making a lot of intentions. Different intentions were being made. Some were making intentions about their behavior, some about their worships, some about their life in general. All kinds of beautiful intentions were coming out. So the first thing we need to do is to hold ourselves to those intentions. That to what extent were we able to complete those intentions? To what extent were we able to do what we set out to do? Did we do it 100%, 80%, 50%, 20%? How successful were we in our goals and meeting our goals? And just as important as meeting those intentions for Ramadan, how are we going to continue on those after Ramadan? Because obviously, if, for example, someone made the intention that I will only speak the truth in the month of Ramadan, I'm not going to tell any lies. Okay, that's a great intention. But now is the time to ask ourselves that, was that intention just for Ramadan? Or am I going to continue doing that? Because a Muslim doesn't just speak the truth in Ramadan, the Muslim speaks the truth all year round. If someone made the intention to be more regular in their salat, then that intention needs to continue now after Ramadan. The purpose of Ramadan is not to do things in Ramadan. The purpose of Ramadan is to change ourselves, improve ourselves for the future, for what comes after Ramadan. So this is the time to reassess and reconsider all those intentions. The second thing is to make sure that we end the month in such a way that we have won the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do we do that? Well, the obvious one is we spend the rest of the month very, very carefully, diligently, making sure that we're not doing anything to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we're pushing ourselves. We continue pushing ourselves in our salat, our taraweeh, our recitation of the Quran, our extra prayers, our dua, istighfar. We continue with that all the way to the end. In fact, even the night before Eid is a very important night. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a lot of reward to the people that are worshipping Him and praying to Him in that night. And in fact, in some narrations it's mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives more people on that night than He has in the whole month of Ramadan put together. So it is not a night to be spent in just, the things that people do. And then there's one more thing. After checking our intentions, taking an account of ourselves to what extent we fulfilled them, and then making plans for continuing them, and after making sure that we're going to push through with our worship, our dua, and keep asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness right all the way to the end, there's one more thing. And that is, we come out of the month of Ramadan with clean hearts. We don't come out of Ramadan still having ill feelings towards someone in our lives. Whether that's a family member, a friend, a schoolmate, or anyone, we come out with our hearts clean. Because just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes to forgive and He wants us to ask Him for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also wants His slaves to forgive other people. And Allah says that if you want a higher chance of me forgiving you, if you want a greater chance of me forgiving you, then learn to forgive other people when they do something bad to you. Because on the Day of Judgment, we'll all be standing and we won't have excuses. Just like today we might not be able to find an excuse for something that someone has done to us, that no, that's inexcusable, it's absolutely wrong, I'm not going to let it go. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do the same thing to us. What you did was absolutely wrong, there's no excuse. What if He says, I'm not going to let it go? Then what will happen? So those who forgive in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives them in this world and in the next world. And the other part of that same thing, is that if we might have hurt someone's feelings or done something wrong to someone, we need to make sure that we resolve that before this month is over. And it doesn't make you inferior, it doesn't make you small. If you go and ask someone to forgive you, in fact, it makes you the bigger person. It makes you the better person. If we have said something, done something to hurt someone's feelings, or to hurt them in any way, to harm them in any way, and they're feeling pain or they're feeling disturbed because of it, then before this month ends, we should seek forgiveness and start our lives with a clean slate, with clean hearts, with a fresh set of records. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us that opportunity every Ramadan, then we should also give ourselves that opportunity amongst ourselves between human beings. So these are 3 things that we should all try to do before the end of the month. And one of the signs that Allah accepted our ibadah, our prayers, our istighfar, one of the signs of that is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the ability to be consistent after Ramadan in those things. So the way people spend Ramadan, people who spend Ramadan in a really, really good way, and they get it accepted, it doesn't stop there. In fact, Allah gives them tawfiq to continue the good things that they started in Ramadan. If somebody started reciting the Quran, for example, in Ramadan, sincerely, Allah will give them the tawfiq to continue reciting afterwards. If somebody became regular in their salat in Ramadan, Allah will give them tawfiq to continue if they were sincere. And the same thing goes on for all the other good things. And if our tawbah to Allah was sincere, then one of the signs of that is that we will be able to abstain from those mistakes, those sins, even after Ramadan. So this is where our mind needs to be as this blessed month comes to a close. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our worships, our prayers, and include us amongst those that He has forgiven. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do the same for our family members and the whole ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه